patch is yet again on the way, lads, and it actually makes quite a few key important changes that I have kind of been asking for, but I honestly believe EA have left a few things out. Lads, I'm about to break it down for you.
Griezmann, 3 men around him to somehow find some space. Ronaldo, fantastic, opening the drive back.
He's made himself the tiniest bit of space.
Almost feels like a bit of a taunt. Didn't really go for him. Oh! The display there is absolutely ridiculous. The Elastico on the goal line. On the goal line, the finest.
We
of
talked about
margins.
Aussie FIFA. He's not here to make up the numbers.
EA have come out, they've said they're going to live tune some gameplay on PS5, Xbox Series, and also Stadia versions of FIFA 22. Now, what they have said is they are going to increase the width of defensive lines in situations where the opposing side's ball carrier is at the edge of the penalty area or even closer to the goal. Now, I actually think this might play in my own advantage. What I mean by my own advantage is the way I'm playing in FIFA 22 is I'm using the 4-2-2. I have 4 attackers that line up as they progress forward. The right cam, the 2 strikers, and the left cam. What I personally do is keep the ball in the wing, and I draw the defensive line, the defense of my opponent, out to that side to basically open up gaps in the center of the pitch. Because what happens is there is 4 attackers. When you have the ball with your winger, which is obviously either the left cam or the right cam, and you keep it around the wing area, eventually the defensive line will drift towards that side. What happens is the other 3 attackers that are lined up line up inside the 18-yard box and give you passing options inside to then do sweaty passes across the goal, to face the goal, to have tap-in opportunities. This is how I'm personally attacking in FIFA 22. It does work. I've qualified for FGS 3 on this, and I'm about to qualify for FGS 4 using this technique, so it does work. But what EA have come out and they've said, they're going to increase the width of defensive lines in situations where the opposing side's ball carrier is at the edge of the penalty area or even closer to the goal. This means there's going to be even more space in the center of the pitch that I'm going to be able to exploit. So in my opinion, lads, this is actually going to make it more open, and I think people are going to have more vulnerable defenses, especially if they're quite bad at defending and they can't right stick switch very well, because they won't be able to bring the defenders quick enough into the space to cover that space, because it is now wider with the width of the defense. But as always, and I say this in every patch update video that I do, lads, we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out once the patch has been implemented into FIFA 22. EA have now also increased the separation between defenders when an AI defender shifts their position to cover a potential shooting lane. Again, lads, I think when we look at this, they're getting wider. There's going to be more space in the bots for us to exploit, because the AI defenders are now separating between other defenders, making it more easier for us to exploit the space that is now open, and especially with some of the glitches in FIFA 22, including the drop back glitch, where your defensive line basically sits so deep, even at the width of where your goalkeeper would usually stand, that there's so much space in the box for your striker to run into and receive the ball and turn and shoot. I think it's going to make it worse. Again, they've increased the width of the AI defenders when they shift their position to cover a potential shooting lane. So number one, it's going to decrease blocks. I think that's a good thing. So they're going to decrease blocks. Blocks are too overpowered this year. There's no skill gap. People going to shoot and they basically get cut off because the AI blocks are they're ridiculous this year. But basically, in terms of separating the AI defenders when they shift their position, again, it's something that I think is going to leave more space in the 18-yard box as you're attacking, and basically you're going to be able to find the attackers inside the box. Now, it might call for an updated defending tutorial for you guys, how to defend against this, how to defend against open space in the 18-yard box. I might do a tutorial for that, lads. If you want that, chuck it down in the comment section down below, and I'll do that in-depth tutorial for you guys. And I think, it's interesting. It's interesting what this patch will bring. The third and final note that they've added in is that they have reduced how deep AI midfielders can drop back into their own team's penalty area. Now, why I think EA have missed something out here is because that's not the issue. The actual issue is the defensive line dropping so deep back into the own team's penalty area, and I find, as I was saying before, it's so deep that there's so much space for the opponent to exploit that you can't defend it sometimes, and especially if they're going to prevent the AI midfielders from dropping back with the defensive line, it's going to make it even worse because you're going to have a defensive line, you're then going to have your midfielders pushed all the way up. There's going to be so much space in between the defensive line and the midfielders that we're going to have to really start to adapt and use the offside trap to get the defensive line up out of the box to prevent the glitch from happening. Now, I have broken down this glitch for you guys in terms of the depth glitch and how to prevent it and how basically to adapt. I did mention that I personally use offside trap to prevent it, and basically what I'll do is when I notice my defensive line is too deep, and again it's a glitch where it doesn't matter what depth you have on your custom tactics, they sit so deep, it's in line where the goalkeeper would usually stand. If you haven't yet seen that video of how to prevent it, lads, go and check it out because I personally use offside trap. When I notice they're too deep, I'll push them up, basically put more pressure onto the opponent and get them out of that deep area of the pitch where I'm left vulnerable if they find the ball into the striker. That's the 3 patch notes that they've updated on the FIFA developers site. Honestly, lads, I think it's going to be easier to attack. Blocks are going to be removed. In terms of how the AI shifts into their positions to make that block. There's going to be more space in the 18-yard box in my opinion because they are now wider as the opponent is pressing up the pitch and attacking, and of course, lads, our AI midfielders are not dropping back with the defensive line too deep, which means you can't cover the space with the midfielders that is open in the defense, which we're going to see how it plays out, but I hope it hasn't, let's say, made it too easy to score. Let's just keep it at that. But that will sing at the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like these patch update videos, let me know. I'm happy to do more of them, lads, and break them down for you. So, of course, be sure to check that in the comment section down below. As always, I'm doing tutorials on Instagram and TikTok. Go and check them out. I'm also coaching one-on-one on patreon.com. So, if you want private coaching, lads, links are all in the description down below. As always, I hope you have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, salam, ciao. Goodbye.